John Patrick, he wrote the foreword and 2 chapters in this book. He's had a legendary career. The guy is world-renowned, one of the greatest gaming authors ever. Again, John Patrick, the host of the TV show So You Want to Be a Gambler. You two are longtime friends. Tell us about that relationship. He's like a gambling guru.
Yeah, John's the Warren Buffett of gambling authors. He's written 15 books. He had his award-winning show, So You Want to Be a Gambler. Well, it kind of starts way back when. When I was 15, for Christmas, my uncle brought up a small craps table. It was all in a big box with the rubber, and we could play. And he tried to teach us the basics, bet a pass line, take 2 come bets, everything that most of the books teach you. But all we did was roll 5 or 6 rolls, and then we'd 7 out and lose all our pennies and buttons. So I said, there's got to be something more to this. So the first thing I did is I went to the library, and one of the first books I found was a book entitled Scarne on Dice by Mr. John Scarne. Great mathematician. He worked for Hilton Corporation. And so I read that book, and then one day I was just watching a cable show in Michigan when I lived there, and it was hosted by Mr. John Patrick. Well, John got my attention because he taught you the way to play as a professional player would play, not as a mathematician. And he said he had written a book and he had these videos out on classes. So the next day I bought his book. I found a video at one of the old video rental stores, and I started to study. And then eventually I called him, and we just got to talking. And God, I think we've been friends for 35, 40 years. And then eventually when I decided to sit down and write my book and kind of do some new updates on dice setting and playing, I sent all the information to John and asked him if he'd write the foreword to the book. Now, John was never a dice setter. He always passed the dice when he was playing, and he played his advanced methods, the Patrick system, the ricochet system, he hedge bet. So I didn't know what was going to happen. And he just celebrated his birthday, January 4th, which makes him a Capricorn. So you don't push them. They're very practical and logical. Well, I let things go about a month, and then I was talking to him. I said, John, I'm really thinking about writing this book. Would you consider writing the foreword to it? To make a long story short, he said yes. Well, I almost fell off the chair because then I told my secretary, well, now I have no choice. I have to write the book. John's going to write the foreword. And then we talked on the phone for about 6 to 8 hours. I got all the information from him about his career, his life, how he got started in gambling, right when he came out of the Army, how he became an author, how he got his television show. In fact, it's one of my favorite chapters in the book. So, he's written, besides the 15 books, the 2 books on craps, he has 2 books. Unfortunately, they're both out of print. The basic and intermediate book is approximately 300 pages, but the Holy Grail is a 600-page advanced book with the green cover. Now, you can't find these books at a high price on Amazon. John sends us the books signed and autographed for our students. And like I said, you just can't find them anywhere else. And then we took his classes that were originally on VHS. We put them on DVD, but now we have them on flash drive, so all the millennials can watch it on flash drive. And it's just information that has to be passed on from generation to generation. These are the pioneers, the John Patricks, the John Scarnes, the John Winn. He's the gentleman that developed the craps table as we know it today. And you have to send this information to the new players and teachers. In fact, when I wrote my book, I dedicated it to John Patrick, John Scarne, and John Winn. And then in the back of the book, I thanked all the new authors and all the teachers that are now teaching dice setting and controlled shooting and bringing it to the public. In fact, there's an old saying, everything that's old is new again. And it goes in cycles. So that's how I met John Patrick.
You said something very interesting there that caught my ear. He always passed the dice. See, when I play craps, I always want to throw the dice. That's interesting.
Well, everybody does. But, John played very conservative. He was strictly a place better and a hedge better, which we get into. He just never really wanted to throw the dice. So, he's one of the few that passed the dice. But he had systems that he used called the Patrick system. He used the ricochet system. He did a lot of hedge betting. stuff that we cover in our advanced classes that most players never even get the opportunity to learn.
You also said something that rang true to my heart. Your uncles gave you a craps table? That sounds like a misspent youth that gambling runs in the family. Mine too. I remember my uncles taking my pennies off me when I was a kid.
Well, it was about one of those, it was about 3 foot long, 2.5 feet wide. It would sit on a card table. And, we didn't have a big full-size table, but it was enough to, put a few chips down or put your pennies and buttons down. And, we had some dice. I don't even think we had legitimate casino dice. We were probably playing with Monopoly dice. But, it was fun, and it had the layout, and you could make your bets and put them where they're supposed to be. But like I said, the average shooter only rolls 5 to 6 rolls and 7's out. And I said, well, it's an interesting game, but there has to be something more to this than just throwing 5 or 6 rolls and then losing all your money.
I can tell just by talking to you that you've loved this game for a long time. What is it about the game of craps that appeals to you?
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, you said it's a game that a lot of people like to play together, and that's true. But everyone's playing their own game within a game. I mean, some people are playing the pass line, some people are playing the don't, some people are making place bets, some people are making other bets. So everyone's playing their own game within a game. But being from a math background, what I liked is that you could play on both sides of the table. You could either play on the pass line when the dice are rolling favorably, or if the dice are rolling negatively because there's an energy at the table, you could play on the don't pass. There's very few games that can do that. Craps is one, Baccarat's the other, where you can play banker or player. But you can't go to a blackjack table and say, I want to bet with the dealer. They'll say, excuse me, sir, there's the exit. So with craps, you can follow the trend of the game and play accordingly. And it's like flipping a coin. If you flip a coin 100 times in a row, it's basically going to be 50% pass line, or let's say heads, and 50% tails, and we'll call that the don't. But crap players are the stubbornest. They never switch and change over when the energy changes. They just keep betting the pass line, the pass line, and the pass line. And unfortunately, they lose a lot of good opportunities by not knowing how to bet on both sides of the table. So that's one of the reasons I like it. Plus, as you say, you get to throw the dice yourself. That puts you in the game, and that's always a positive.